Genna Davis, welcome to the show. Everybody, this is Genna Davis. Welcome to Speaking Of. It's a new podcast. This is going to be one of our early ones we're going to show because we wanted to talk to you as an artiste. Are you still an artiste?
Yeah.
You were when I first started talking to you.
Yep, still an artiste, hoping to stay an artiste.
An artiste, and Genna had the ubiquitous honor of working with our little group here in redesigning our intro. Now, here was the idea. We wanted to do a podcast this year, and we put together a pretty good, fun one at the beginning. I thought it was pretty good. John actually made that one. It's got some movement. It's got kind of a cool little sound signature at the beginning, which we might kind of try to work in a little bit, but I don't know. And I said, you know what? Here's what we really need, because we have a good art school here at the University of St. Francis. We need some artistes. They can come in with some ideas and showcase what they do and showcase what we do at the school and put together something that looks different. It is a little strange, kind of like this show. And come up with something that was going to be just a big wow factor, colorful, whatever else. So I put the word out, right? I say, hey, I'd love to be able to have an artist come in and do something like that. So then somehow or another, this gets into your ear.
Yeah.
What did you hear initially? What was the idea?
First, gosh, I think it was before school started. I can't remember exactly when.
That could be about right.
Yeah. And then it was my professor, Jake. He's the division director for animation, and he reached out to me in an email and he's like, hey, do you want to do a podcast intro? Do you want to animate a podcast intro for teaching learning services podcast? So I was like, sure, okay. So I'm down to take any new opportunity. So yeah, and then I got into contact with you, and we had meetings and made an intro. So
what was the idea that you came up with? Because you came up with some sort of an idea. Let's do this. Let's back up. How long have you been into art?
Probably ever since I was a few years old. Probably. I was always into art. I was like the art kid at school, and my mom was an artist too. So really? I got introduced to it pretty early.
What kind of art did your mom do?
She was a graphic designer, and she used a lot of oil pastels as well. So.
I like those. I learned a little bit about those recently. If you use Q-tips, you can do a lot with smudging around.
Yes, smudging, blending.
So I was just using my finger, and then somebody showed me, no, you use a Q-tip. Yeah, that makes
I've heard
a lot of sense.
I've heard you're not supposed to use your fingers because your oils
no
or something.
Kidding.
But
that makes a lot of sense.
Sometimes I do it anyes, but
you kind of have to sometimes. It's just like you're like, well, does this work? Then you learn a lesson that no, that doesn't work. So you start art back then. What were you into? You big flower drawer? You cars, battleships, what?
I would say I drew flowers and stuff, like the basic kid things, I guess, that you do in like art class in elementary school and preschool. But I drew a lot of Pokemon. That was my thing. Yeah.
That spoke to you somehow.
Yeah. I would study my guidebooks and just draw exactly the illustrations. And
so you decided to go to art school. You did a lot of art in high school, I imagine. Were there classes you took?
Oh yeah,
Where'd you go?
In high school, I took as many art classes as I could in high school.
Did you go around here?
No, I went to Angola.
Oh, okay. Did you take like all the watercolors and how to sketch and how to stick figure guys?
I basically took every art class I could.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
Did you ever branch out into photography?
I was doing photography in my last semester, but that's when the pandemic hit. So I only took it for like half a semester.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
That's its own set of mediums, that's for sure. So you just think, okay, I'm in high school. I'm becoming an artiste. You're not an artiste yet, right? Or are you? Are you an artiste?
It was
then.
I pretty much was, but it was kind of like a hard word to apply to myself because I didn't feel like I was at that level yet, I guess. So, but looking back, it's like, yeah, I was an artist. I made art. Like that's That
Well, that's the
qualifies me as an
definition.
artist.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
I got you. So you come here. What do you want to do?
I was like, well, at first I actually wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was either deciding to be a environmental science major or an animation major. And yeah, those are like
Those are so
very
similar.
different things. Yeah.
There's such a fabric.
Very, very close together.
Well, that's where would those ever come in contact with each other? That's an interesting. So what you just said? Nah, I can't do the other in lieu of this, or what?
Yeah, I thought about double majoring, but ultimately I realized that if I had art and science, I would put all of my energy into doing my art.
Yeah.
So I might as well just do that instead.
You had to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
So you come in here, you start taking classes.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite class here?
Oh, my favorite class? I think my favorite class might have been, what do you even call it? The studio experience class that all the animation students do.
What's that?
Which is basically when all the students, when everyone in that class splits up into groups and they make their own animated short film.
Oh.
And that's when we made The Fox's Wedding. And I think that was my favorite just because I really enjoyed working with people. It was so cool to have a finished product at the end, like a whole short film. And even it's not really a traditional class in that sense because it's very like hands off from the professor. Professor will help guide us and stuff, but
You don't want Jake messing around.
yeah.
Jake and Patrick, you don't want them nosing around.
But yeah, it was. I think that was kind of nice. It was a very new experience for me, and I learned a lot from it.
Whose
for
idea
sure.
was that?
Like the class itself or the short film?
Short film.
The short film itself was another one of my classmates' ideas. Jennifer Haggis.
Yeah?
Yeah, she just graduated as well. She has a sister living in Japan, so she came back from a Japan trip and was like, and had the idea of The Fox's Wedding. So that's
Did
kind
this
of where.
win an award?
Yeah, it did.
What
actually.
did it win?
Recently, it won 2 Telly Awards, a silver in People's Choice, and it was a gold award in short film category. We won a gold and a silver. You can actually see them. I think they're in the animation lab. I haven't seen them myself yet, but I think
I
they're
think
there.
Jake had put that on LinkedIn as
Yeah.
well. There was some stuff he put out there. Mm-hmm. So you think, okay, I've seen this podcast you had, but that's okay. Few people have. And you thought, I can do something.
Yeah.
So you and I kind of sit down, and I think my instructions were whatever.
You were pretty open-ended.
Pretty open-ended. I didn't want to stifle any creativity. I try not to do that if I'm working with artists. I know how sensitive you people are. So I said, okay. You walked out of my office and said, there's no way. There's no chance in hell I'm doing this thing. What did you come up with? What was your first inkling to come up with? What did you do?
Okay, so what I wanted to do first was present to you a few different ideas that I had, and the very first one was this hermit crab.
Okay.
And I was inspired by, I had a lot of beach themes. Like 2 of the themes I showed you were like
You
beach
did. You had a
themed.
lot of beach themes.
That's just because that summer I went to West Michigan a lot, so saw the Lake Michigan.
So you were like
Very
in
pretty.
Holland and
Yeah, exactly.
Niles area.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. So, and it's like, man, the lake's pretty cool. So that was just in my mind, and I just showed you 2 beach themes. And the first one was
A lot of hermit crabs at Lake Michigan.
No, I don't even think they're not even in the Great Lakes. I don't think. So I don't know.
I don't know. They could be. I don't know. So tell me about the original idea with the hermit crab.
The original idea was I just wanted something really cute and simple. So it would start with an establishing shot of this crab, and it would focus in on it, focus in on a shell on the beach, and it would poke its head out and look around a little bit and then hide because as someone walks in front of the crab, and a few seconds pass, it pops its head out back again, and it just scuttles away, and that's when it would reveal the podcast title.
I kind of like that idea, quite honestly. I like the foot walking over it was pretty cute. I thought that was that was a big choice for me. But what were some of the other ideas you had?
The other one I showed you was this top-down view of the beach, of the shoreline, and waves coming back and forth. And every time the waves would pull in, there would be new items or new random new objects that would wash up and be taken back out off screen. I thought that would be a good idea for some weird little gags of just random things that would show up on the beach. And
that would have been cool. You could put like a pop can and a frisbee. Mm-hmm. It would have had a spot, speaking of, at some point. Seaweed. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool. Had this podcast been more water related or boats, I thought that was a killer intro.
Thank you.
Because it would have been so much fun to have that, and it could have been spelling out as garbage, and then just have it all washed away as the third or fourth. You could have had a body in there too.
yeah.
It was like a Jaws thing or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's number 2. What was the third?
And the last one was the one that we ultimately settled on, which features some birds. And actually, you've probably seen it if you're watching this podcast. They'd probably show it. It starts with a bird on an electrical line, and it closes up on it, and it's like sleeping, and then more birds come in, wake it up, and all these birds in unison, they just shout, "Speaking of," and yeah, that's pretty much it. And they bother this bird that's just trying to sleep there.
I like this one. This was cute because you have a thing with this bird. You draw this little bird.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. It's like your little. It's like almost a logo for you in a lot of ways.
In a way, I haven't drawn it in a while, but I did draw it a lot in my sketchbooks, just because.
Yeah, you did show that. I think that was the thing that I thought was really cute. Mm-hmm. And then you came in with this idea that you could say, I can do something with the squiggle vision.
Yes.
Which I'm a big fan of.
Yes, I really wanted to do this animation in Blender because it seemed like a really cool software. I hadn't practiced it enough, and I know it could do 2D animation.
Yeah.
And I'd seen this kind of squiggly technique I've seen people use on it, and I thought that would be perfect for this. I could imagine it in my head perfectly, and I was like, this is what I'm gonna do, and it was pretty cool.
If you guys have ever watched Dr. Katz, that comedian show, and it has H. John Benjamin, who does Bob's Burgers now, and Home Movies, and a bunch of those are squiggle vision versions, and I was a big fan. I love those shows, and so when you threw out squiggle vision, I go, okay. Yeah, I'm fine with. I really dug this, and so to take it a little bit further, as you came back, we worked and had this idea. We went down to the Music and Technology Center, down at the PAC downtown, and I got with one of our up and coming sound engineers. His name's Sam Trowbridge, and he and I, John Sellers, went out and recorded. There's 6 birds, and you have a couple of different things. One of them has a guitar. So we figured out, I can't remember it was like a G major 7, I think it was a chord. I strummed it, and then Sam and I did the harmony of all 6 birds. That's why it sounds fun. A little strange. I wanted this to look a little strange. Well, not look strange, but I wanted to sound a little weird, so it captured something of an essence of what this podcast is all about. And we could do yourself justice with how beautiful this thing is. We put a couple of sound effects in it. That looks like something you'd find on network TV or something.
Thank you. It was super fun to work on it.
I just thought that was the coolest thing, and to be able to showcase you as an artiste. So what are you doing now, kid? What's the next steps?
Oh, the next steps?
Where are you going to set the world on fire?
Oh, I'm still planning on it. Still figuring it out. Right now, I've just been applying for jobs and stuff. However, I did get one cool thing.
What?
It's not quite a paid like employed job, but it's a really nice opportunity. I joined this nonprofit organization called Asians in Animation, and it's a nonprofit in LA. And so starting this year, they're making short films, I guess. So they have opened up applications for Asians who are in animation and who want to have more experience and to bring them together and make a short film. So I
How
did
long
get
a
accepted
short
in
film
that.
are we talking about?
It's
Lord of the Rings short? Are we talking about
No,
2 minutes?
It was like
Bambi meets Godzilla kind of thing, if you ever see that.
I believe it was a 30 seconds to 30 seconds is the plan.
That's pretty cool.
It's a week long production and it's supposed to simulate like an industry
Yeah.
production. So I'm really excited for it because I hope I'll make a lot of connections this way. And I had so much fun working on the short film Fox's Wedding. So I'm really excited for it.
I think you're extraordinarily talented, far more than I am. I can tell you that.
You.
And it has been an honor to have you do our entrance on this. And we're lucky to have you as a student. And I hope you all the luck going forward, and keep us in mind if you got some ideas. We might have some things coming up we might be working on. But hey, folks, if you want an artist that can do a lot of different types of things, and I'm not just talking about just this, a lot of different concepts, and is an easy person to collaborate with. We're going to put contact information down here at the bottom. If you want to get with her, Genna Davis, get with her and make some great art and have some fun. Thanks for watching, folks.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.